Then, right, now I was talking about the cantilever of a cantilever. Can you see on the right hand, the top slab? You get these thin columns, very thin columns, connect to this massive portal beam at the top. And the design concept there, though it is visually, it looks like this, it was different. Now, how architect Bava's engineers had done at that time was, on the right hand side is the typical frame, concrete frame of the structure. The two corner columns at the ground floor levels is the single story. The entire structure was held by two concrete columns, and at the first floor there's a beam which is on a 160 millimeter thick slab, and the beam size is not there, but in about 450 millimeter, the dark color of the beam. From there you can see the protrusion on the first floor, and there's a column. That column it's a hanging column. That column was actually it's a slab, inverted slab with columns flat slab with inverted columns holding the beam on the top. Now the load was transferred to the beam at the top. And at the upper level, earlier design said there was an upstand beam. From the upstand beam, again a protrusion, there was another hanging column which was connected to the concrete portal frame again at the top. So this was the original design. Now, if you take the plan, architect who did the rest of construction work was architect Channa Daswatha. Now, basically, he completely agreed with he had a lot of sympathy towards the building, and he said, look, we are not changing anything, but you can see that was the room layout, and he said, look, the upper level, the second floor, I want the room sizes seem to be too small. Without changing any of the features, he said, can we remove the center wall, between the two rooms we convert to one room. So that's going to be like junior suites. So then the room the separating wall, he removed it and made two rooms into one. As for architects, it's easily drawn, no problem, everything drawn. To our dismay, at the center of the room, you suddenly find an upstand beam now. Because the beam that was there separating the room, the upstand beam was a real hindrance. Now, architect never knew about that. So then we asked, shall we raise the floor? Then they said no, because if you raise the floor, the headroom is going to not be enough. Then how do you maintain the same thing without the upstand beam? Then we worked out a solution. Right, do not talk about an upstand beam. However, let's allow, if you can allow a downstand beam, because underneath you get the brickwork, nobody will see it. It's the same thing. Then they said, okay, you can have it. You cannot take it out. In the previous one, we had the upstand beam which was coming out of the building, which was corridor. So that was also not allowed. Right, fine. We agreed with that challenge and we said, all right, then the 125 by 125, the hanging column on the two ends on the first floor, we said we will take it up. We'll design in such a way, the second floor slab also partly taken, the weight will be taken by that new column, the hanging column introduced within the partition wall, and to be connected to the portal frame at the top. So that they agreed. So that was the relief. Then we said, all right, if it is the case, we will now design, and so that design was done, and also it was agreed, architecturally no changes, structurally modification, hidden, and did it in such a way that it did appearance-wise, nothing got changed. So then we started construction. What we did there was, Then, can you go to the next one? Right. We constructed the first floor level as per the original size, 300 by 450 column. The main two columns was the 300 by 450 original size. Did the first floor, and again the slab thickness was confined to 160 millimeters, and from there we did this hanging column, the two hanging columns, take the main columns up, then did the second level, the new introduction. The new introduction was only a downstand beam, and the same slab was constructed, and from there we took the column up, and instead of earlier 2, it became 4, but within the wall space, so nobody could see it, and then came the huge portal frame which was there, and it was connected. Only thing is, we said, till the loads are transferred properly to the portal frame, we will not remove the shuttering at the lower levels. So that was the condition, and that is what finally we did. These are the photographs of the construction. If you can see, those are the thin columns which is protruding up. And also, mind you, now if you take the right-hand column, you can see this thin column, but one will also want to know how on earth such a massive slab will be held by 150 by 150, sorry, not even 150, 125. The theory works the other way. Column is not under compression, column is under tension, because it's a hanging column. Hanging column does not require the kind of, again, bundling of bars. That means you, in a normal compressive, if it is under compression, then you have to have the 4 corners, but bundling of bars is allowed when it is under tension. So we bundled it and created the required cover. That is why we managed to do that small column. And also it was a timber cladding given. So finally this structure came out same as what it was originally planned for. And these are the photographs that was taken during the construction stage. And this left-hand side and the right-hand side was the final product, identical to the, architecturally identical to the same thing that was done 50 years before. And with that, the main complex was done, but we also, if you take the next photograph, you'll find, by the way, I will show you, this is the handrail, and handrail was stiffened with those Sekugal stiffeners, and that was the original design. Same thing, what you see on the left-hand side, that photograph, black and white photograph was taken in 1967. Same thing was repositioned for them to have the handrail. And the same seating that was done by Ina De Silva was reproduced and positioned there. So, of course, now, what you see there in that photograph, the 4-storied complex and the courtyard is the one that we rebuilt. As the client wanted 150-room hotel, there was a new room block. Those were new construction, a banquet hall, staff quarters. Interestingly, architect Channa Daswatta wanted a restaurant. If you see, there is a restaurant connected to the building, which is this one. This restaurant, he did a concrete structure with a folded slab. That folded slab is actually turfed on top, and if other thing what I see is it also has rustic finish, which was slightly complementary to the old building, the restored building that was on this side. So I can show you a feature that there we maintain. On the left-hand side, you can see underneath the folded concrete roof slab, he also wanted to do something like Baba did. He asked us, can we get the impregnation of a coconut palm? So I said, yes, without the stem. So we cut the stem of it, and above the shuttering, we placed these coconut palms before concreting. And once it removed, we got the impregnation of the coconut palm to the underside of the concrete roof, which had a rustic finish. And the whole, once it was finished, this is how it is at the moment. And that was another unique feature which we did in this particular hotel to complement Architect Bawa's vision. So with that, I think I have concluded that. Also, I must tell you one more thing. When we were doing the demolition of the building debris, there was a huge demand for construction debris because filling of mangroves was something that was happening there. Mangroves mean across the road was Bentota River, you get the mangroves. A lot of people really wanted the construction material to be given to them. We said no, because being socially responsible, we decided not to give it to them. We sent it to a crushing plant that was situated in Boosa, that's close to Gaol. It was handled by the government. And the material was used for crushing and reused for road constructions as a sub-base material. So that way we didn't even throw out anything out, it was reused. So that's something I would like to highlight here. We're quite responsible when we're even discharging the waste construction material. And thank you very much. And if anybody wants to ask questions, may do that at the question time. Further, in Sinhala භාෂාවෙන් උනත් ප්‍රශ්න සීමට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Thank you very much.